Madagascar, the island nation located in the Indian Ocean, off the southeast coast of Africa. The capital, Antananarivo, lives between its beautiful history and modernization, which is gaining more and more implacable. The summits of the upper town, Tana, are steeped in rich history. Tana cast a protective glance over the Red Island. In the lively capital, Eva is in labor in the hospital center Raset Bafalatanen. She will give birth to her baby in the next hour. Everything will take place normally, says Dr. Tayan.
Yes, Mrs. Eva. Her labor started 6 hours ago. She's going to give birth soon, within an hour and a half. She's at 7 centimeters of cervical dilatation. The membranes are ruptured. It is clear liquid. The baby's fine.
Several hundred kilometers away, Rasu doesn't have the same fate as Eva. She lost her baby as a result of a prolonged labor that caused obstetric fistula. And yet she smiles. A half hour ago, she was on the operating table, here, at the University Hospital of Mitsinj Betanmen. This setting is Tulir, a port city located at nearly 1,000 kilometers from the capital. Dr. Medina Nadoy is one of the few female urologist surgeons of Francophone Africa. She will lead Rasu's fistula repair. Medina Nadoy is a member of the team of expert surgeons of Senegalese professor Magaya Gay, who arrived in Madagascar for the National Obstetric Fistula Repair Campaign. The initiative is organized by the Madagascar Ministry of Health. Advancing efforts is the United Nations Fund for Population, or UNFPA.
We're fortunate to have with us the First Lady of Madagascar who is involved in this field. She is a true activist. It was she who initiated the campaign last year in Sembab, and she launched it this year in Tana. She continues to support all women whose fistulae are treated so that they can be reintegrated.
Especially poor women. These women are also marginalized and excluded from their societies and often abandoned by their husbands.
We believe it is extremely important. This is maybe one of the reasons that explains why more and more women come, because they know that this is a disease that can be treated. Once healed, reintegration is possible. These women can again contribute to the social and economic growth of a community.
Why fight fistula? First, to restore the dignity of women, to enable them to have a full empowerment and to participate equally in the development of the country. I launched a campaign against fistula, which enabled, with the support of our partners, especially UNFPA, to repair 829 cases of fistula.
Rasu is part of many Malagasy women suffering from obstetric fistula. UNFPA plays a leading role in identifying and managing fistula repair.
She had a fistula which had already been operated. It is a fistula between the urethra and the bladder, called a transection, but incomplete and with many fibroses, unfortunately. This is due to earlier interventions, and as you know, with the fistula, whenever an intervention is missed, the next may be a bit more complicated.
If, in the vicinity of Tulir, Rasu came to develop a fistula, the lack of obstetric emergency care and of a prolonged labor caused the loss of her baby. Her lot, unfortunately, is somewhat common among women in these distant localities of Madagascar.
We have 50,000 identified fistula cases in Madagascar. 4,000 cases occur every year. Then the most important battle today is to stop the occurrence of fistula and treat women with obstetric fistula.
Given the magnitude, the government, through the Ministry of Health, responds with force and with the support of UNFPA.
As a measure towards safe births, we do prenatal consultations and we recommend childbirth in hospitals. And we are setting up maternity health centers all over Madagascar, even in villages, to make births safer for mothers and babies. The campaign provides momentum for maternal care, yet our focus is on day-to-day routine. An example, between 2011 and 2014, we treated about 850 victims of fistula over the 4 years. Last year, we treated 829 cases of fistula. This year, through 30th September, we treated 760 women with fistula. The goal remains the same: go beyond 1,000 cases per year.
Cette femme que nous venons d'opérer a la particularité de présenter une fistule complexe.
This woman has a complex case. Part of the device that allows her to urinate was completely destroyed, so the urinary channel no longer exists. It was necessary to reconstruct this channel by taking a part of the tissue to make a tube to allow her to be able to urinate. The fistulas which we encounter in Madagascar are quite serious. The lesions are severe enough to require the intervention of someone who is well trained. There are two reasons for this. First, the woman is small. Therefore, the labor lasts long. And the longer the labor, the more the severe the tears. Second, some women underwent surgery with medical providers who maybe did not have the level of skill required in order to address this type of surgery. And as you know so well, this is the type of surgery that must be done when one has the skills. This is the second or third time we worked with this team from Senegal. The training is very useful to us. Now we can repair up to 95% of complicated fistula cases. For the remaining cases, we wait for the campaign opportunities when Professor Gui comes.
I would like to thank these international experts because we are really happy they are here to help us, but also because they share their experiences with our local surgeon, and also because they help us to achieve our goal. The women who are victims of obstetric fistula here are taken care of by UNFPA. That is to say, the routing, the lodging, the restoration, the operations, and then the drugs. The operating room has been open and functioning since May. UNFPA provided much of the equipment.
Madagascar's vast geography presents a challenge to pregnant women. The island is the 5th largest island, stretching 600,000 square kilometers. Pregnant women living in remote areas have difficulty in reaching treatment centers. A lack of family planning places more burden on women. Large families perpetuate poverty. UNFPA aims to help families plan for fewer children. That means healthier children. and treat obstetric fistula for healthier mothers. This is the goal of UNFPA in partnership with the government. Here at Tanamba, University Hospital of Tulir, the local surgical staff benefits from training under Professor Gay's team.
I learned a lot from Dr. Medina. In fact, she has taught many techniques on obstetric fistula repair.
The idea is to have more people trained to repair fistulas because they are not just surgeons to repair fistulas. So with this international team, we create a mix with the national teams. We bring national surgeons, national gynecologists, some of whom are trained, and specialization students who are also trained in this field with the international team. We create a dynamic that allows physicians from diverse backgrounds, gynecologists, surgeons can also work with together to repair fistulas. Effectively, with the support of UNFPA, we do in Madagascar what is called campaigns. It is at the same time the support of women, but on the other side, it's training for young surgeons. And this year, even last year, I created this academic training at the university, so a bit academic, so that interns at the end of their course, interns in general surgery, interns in visceral surgery, internal gynecology obstetrics, when they are posted where they are going to exercise, they will be able to take care of the fistula and participate in at least 3 training camps.
Je dirais que la relation avec l'UNFPA est au beau fixe.
I will say that the relationship with UNFPA is old and in good shape, as with other partners. It is that we in the Ministry of Health now advocate what we call a single coordination, and all activities converge toward what we call the strengthening of the health system and the coverage of universal health. All our partners, especially UNFPA, share the same conviction, the same determination as the central department to try to reduce the rate of maternal and infant mortality.
Here on the east side of northern Madagascar, in the town and commune of Sambav, agriculture and livestock dominate economic activities. The region is known for its vanilla and cocoa. The city of Sambav offers to the visitor its beautiful, white, sandy beaches. In the hospital of Sambav, Dr. Fidel and Dr. Nurdin, surgeons Malagasy, operate fistulas.
She presented an incontinence she has had for 21 years. Since right now she is 50 years old, she had carried it around for 21 years. So she came 3 days ago. That's why we scheduled her surgery today. Thanks to the collaboration with UNFPA, we give importance to the communication because the real problem here in Madagascar is that there are health centers which are in remote areas, and it is for this reason that UNFPA works with us in 3 regions. I will say really almost isolated enclaves. The region of Antamwanda in southeast, the region of Andouy where there is a drought, and the Vatfafitnan region, which is an area, I would say, somewhat isolated, and to try to help the population.
Here at 30 kilometers of Antananarivo, the hospital center of reference of Mahitsi, occupies the barracks of a former French military camp. Dr. Abel Renavson, Chief Medical Officer of the Hospital Center of Reference, who operates and repairs fistulas.
In this hospital, the type of fistula here is complicated. And collaboration with UNFPA is important by their support for the rehabilitation of this hospital. The facilities provided, the creation of a family planning model center here in parallel with the management of the fistula.
After the operation, the women are guided to a center model of family planning for more counsel. Here, UNFPA has reinforced the facilities, rehabilitated the operating room, the hospital ward, and number of beds. The UN agency provides free treatment for women who have undergone operations. UNFPA provides food and medication.
We're in a society where tradition plays an extremely important role. We have a partnership with the Federation of Royal and Traditional Communities in Madagascar. Today, members of this federation ply the south of the country to make some awareness, training workshops in the place of traditional religious leaders. Traditional leaders to better understand their role in the fight against fistula, but also their role in the fight against maternal mortality.
In addition to classic campaigns of awareness of the population about the disease, UNFPA works with the NGO ASOS to find women with fistula. Many simply don't show up, out of fear of stigma or simple ignorance. They may not know that the condition can be treated free of charge. But this work is very difficult because Christophe Havanasu faces several obstacles. Indeed, these women often live in remote places. Christophe must cross lakes, rivers, bushes, and sometimes to continue his journey on foot to finally find and try to convince women that under the weight of tradition, reject any idea of surgical intervention. Dorcas is treated of obstetric fistula. She is very happy with her recovery and is full of praise for Dr. Fidel. She reveals that despite her recovery, she was an outcast in her community. Today, she is more and more accepted in society, even if she does not work. However, she is very committed to advise and educate women on the prevention and treatment of obstetric fistula. Vavtin comes from Sarabari, a town located 60 kilometers from Sambav. Treated for fistula, she traveled the region to find women and girls suffering from obstetric fistula who hide for fear of being stigmatized or rejected. Vavtin leads them to the hospital in Sambav, where they find a warm welcome from doctors, as well as a free and effective treatment. UNFPA supports these activities.
It's good for the people. It is an opportunity for the people of our region.
In Antananarivo, the Model Center in Family Planning of the Hospital Center of Joseph Ravohangi Andriana Valona, it is always full. Rehabilitated by UNFPA, this center, recently inaugurated by the First Lady of Madagascar, ensures follow-up.
There are many women who visit, all women of reproductive age, yes. There are also women who come from far, from the bush. The young people, there aren't as many who come to see us. In my opinion, it may be the fear. Here in Madagascar, it is still taboo to get pregnant. It's shameful, and that is why we do not see young people.
Madagascar has a large number of early pregnancies, with about 42% of women aged 15 to 19 years. But this problem is related to the traditional practices of early marriages.
The girls are married before the age of 18. It is the parents themselves who push their daughters into marriage before adulthood, despite a law prohibiting marriage before 18. In Madagascar, a maternal death on 3 concerns a young girl who is less than 18 years old who is pregnant. We launched a large campaign against early marriages and pregnancies, and the First Lady of Madagascar is the patron of this campaign.
Here in Nusarin, village located 15 kilometers from Sambav, the Malagasy surgeon Dr. Fidel is welcomed with joy by these women, all been treated by him. Among them, 20-year-old Hant was able to return to her group of friends and now attends church regularly. What she could not do so before her operation. Her little business is on. In reality, UNFPA also works very closely with the First Lady of Madagascar in the social reintegration of women treated for obstetric fistula. The First Lady is committed. She is a mother who is very sensitive to the fate of the Malagasy women.
Of course, the President is very committed with regard to this issue and instructed the ministers concerned to become more involved, and especially permanently. Health is a part of the priorities of the President.
In the village of Ankuf, located 40 kilometers of Antananarivo and 5 kilometers from the main road on a track that leads to the heights of the hills, Clarice walks quietly with her husband to their pretty little flowered house. It's a whole new life that begins for the couple. This after suffering with fistula for 22 years, yet always with her husband by her side for support. Clarice is completely treated today and runs her small family business. Mathilde, a milk cow that has just given birth. The cow is famous in the village as the bovine was a gift from the First Lady of Madagascar, so Clarice can successfully reintegrate into society and generate her own income. For 2 weeks, Mathilde produces 3 liters of milk per day. For Clarice, this cow is a blessing, and she asked the members of the municipal delegation who came to visit her to convey her sincere thanks to the Malagasy First Lady. The support of the Malagasy First Lady does not stop there.
She's on the field with us, with all partners, because we are not the only ones, and especially by creating structures where women have no resources, who have no income, can be trained. The First Lady also accompanies them in rehabilitation. She shares conviction that a First Lady can be of service.
First ladies should always be on the front line in this fight.